Peace and love, you beautiful miracles with a spiritual level of being. Nathan here from a spiritual level of being, and today I want to discuss ancestor worship. Now, ancestor worship has been around for generations, arguably since the beginnings of religion. Now, it's practiced in many places around the world still, and from ancient times, from ancient African tribes to African tribes today, to Hinduism, the Vikings, which is more of a modern term, I would like to say Norse or Germanic religions, also worship their ancestors. Now, according to the Norse mythology, the elves were their ancestors, and they could be good and bad spirits, they could be angry, they can cause catastrophic events, cause famines. So they would use animals as sacrifice to appease their ancestors, to pass on messages to the gods, to pass on message to the spirit world, which was also linked with the weathers and catastrophes and plentiful harvest here on earth. Now, in African religions, they would pass on messages to their ancestors in turn to pass on messages to the divine or the other spirits. In the Viking culture, they also believed in reincarnation as well, so these African cults, and some with Hinduism also believe, well, Hinduism all believes in reincarnation. But that being said, these in the Norse mythology, their heaven Valhalla wasn't always permanent. You could be coming back here to Earth in a sense. Now, these ancestors that they were worshipping later on become gods, later become spirit guides, and in a sense were linked with spirit guides. So this is quite interesting how religions really develop, and this also come out of Mother Earth worship and the universe being worshipped. And they seen this really as deeper truths to their society or to their culture. So ancestors were playing a big part in this role. So before gods, we worshipped this planet and we believed in spirit guides, spirits. And these spirit guides were in forms of animals and our ancestors, which led to half humans, half animal hybrids that later developed into gods. So it's quite interesting with this whole ancestor worship. Even the Druids, their idea of their gods were their ancestors, seeing gods as us, all life itself. This is a Gnostic way of thinking. Now, they weren't really religious Druids. Most of what we know about the Druids is mostly propaganda. They were a more spiritual sort of people, tribal, nomadic sort of people, but also had their close-knit communities. But they never wrote down their traditions because they were afraid that they would be edited by their enemies or twisted around pretty much against them. So yes, it's interesting when you look at a lot of these communities, they pretty much keep their knowledge to their community. Very rarely they would pass on to outsiders in fear that they would use it against them, they would change it, edit it, or do them harm. And this is ultimately the case with a lot of religions because religions often lead to religious persecution. Not all the time, but most of the times, especially with, say, Aramaic faiths. But that being said, other cultures and other religions have still gone to war, still been violent. The Norse and Germanic religions were arguably pretty violent as well. Now, in my idea, any religion that involves any form of human sacrifice is violent. Now, this can obviously be said about animal sacrifice. Now, it's fair enough, they're feeding their community with the sacrifice. But if they're ultimately just burning it for no reason, then it's really just cruelty. So, as we evolve, we also develop higher levels of consciousness, higher levels of ways of thinking, more empathy, more love and compassion towards ourselves, animals, and each other. So, religion also helped us develop this, but religion, in a sense, also put us backwards and held back our advancement. And often put us back into the dark ages and reset humanity, and humanity again advances again, relearns some lost technology, lost skills, learns new skills and learns and creates learns how to use and create new technology altogether. And this is because we go through cycles and ages. We go through our dark ages, our golden ages, when technology and art really, and philosophy, especially astrology, all flourishes and really technology serves the people. And this is when advancement happens in a greater level, where if you have the advancements only for the elites or the military, this is a slower advancement and often leads to catastrophe. So, peace and love, everyone. I love you all. Connect to one mind and soul. Namaste.